There's massive amounts of information on the internet as well as elsewhere when it comes to researching your reinventing topic. Whatever area of your life that you're trying to reinvent, if you're trying to do some research on it, you can easily be overwhelmed. I want to talk about that in this video. How's it going, reinventors? I'm Amelia. This is Reinventing You, the channel where you can be inspired to take your own reinventing journey so that you can live a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. I try to post twice a week. And if you have already subscribed, hopefully you've already clicked on the notification, that little bell, you get notified when I post new videos. However, over 80% of you have never subscribed to this channel. So this is your opportunity now to subscribe and click on that bell. If you have already subscribed, I invite you to give this video a thumbs up. Now, in a previous video that I just released this week, I talk about two questions that one of my subscribers had asked about how do you research topics for reinventing, the areas of your life you want to reinvent, you want to get some more information on them without being overwhelmed. Now, I am not going to go over that. Like, I'm not going to repeat what I said. But if you want to watch that video, it's right up here, also in the descriptions and in the comments. And so today I'm going to show you some personal examples of how I would research a topic. And as well as I have my friend Susan, her own take on what happened with her and why this question bubbled up for her. What she said was this: I have always read a lot about food, recipes, health, etc. And since we are primarily vegetarian, I started reading more about what we need to eat for protein, how much, all that stuff. That being said, I also read a lot about minimalism. So I have followed minimalist Colin Wright on Instagram for years, and I saw he did a podcast with Allison Hare's Culture Changers. I listened to that, and then the second podcast of hers I listened to was about makeovers and the use of Botox. Then they made a comment about diet, digestion, gut bacteria. You see where this is going. So I looked up and Googled gut bacteria and learned we need foods promoting probiotics, of course, and prebiotics. And for all my food and health reading, why didn't I know about prebiotics and the foods that promote that? Then I found lists of food and recipes that promote prebiotics. So that was my roundabout way of research. And she says, maybe that is normal, and maybe I just don't ask the right questions to begin with. Well, Susan, that is what happens a lot when you are researching topics. If you're looking more into wherever you are, the area that you are reinventing in your life. And I can say a couple of things, and I may mention them again at the end of the video. Is the first thing is before you dive into research, you have got to give yourself some kind of limitation, either a time limitation or amount of information you're going to get. Usually what I'll do is I may go, if I'm Googling something, I may skip over to page 3 and then say I'm going to look only through page 3 to 6 on Google. Or sometimes when you're Googling something, you'll say, oh wait, I'm getting out, I don't know what they're talking about now, I'm stopping now. Or timing myself, I'm only going to spend 30 minutes, an hour. And if you're doing a YouTube video, that's usually where I have to set a time limit. And, research your product, and then, research your topic, and then if you want to watch, videos on makeup tutorials or whatever, that's fine. But don't also say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes researching on walking for health benefits, and then end up taking that 30 minutes, maybe 40, and then spending 2 hours on makeup tutorials. You have got to, can't come out of that saying, oh, I spent 3 hours on researching this topic about walking for my health. Be honest with yourself. Say, okay, I know I limited myself for 40 minutes on this topic. I got sidetracked. I spent 2 hours on makeup videos. Just be honest with yourself if that's what happened. But you have got to set some kind of limitations. I think that what Susan was talking about, where you start one place and you end up somewhere else, is true. And a lot of times what you have to do is say, I'm going to come back and look up prebiotics later. Or I'm going to, look a little bit more about minimalism later. You have got to make that part of your schedule or put it in another box. or say, well, that's interesting and that's sort of a side issue of what I'm looking at, but I really need to focus what I'm focusing on. So let's go to the computer now. I'm going to show you, I'm going to use the example of walking for health, and I'm going to have that on the computer and I'll voice over for you. So here we are getting on the computer and going to Walking for Health. You will notice the very first thing are the two ads at the top of the page. So we're going to skip down and just look over some of the articles that are available. Of course, these are the top hits on Google. And also notice the last two articles on the page are also ads. So let's go on to page 3. Check out where these are coming from. Is this Facebook? We don't want that. Pinterest? No. Amazon? That's a book. Right now we want an article. So let's try this one. Well, okay. This is so tiny on my phone. But anyway, let's try this one. This is a site that is Kaiser Permanente, I believe. I think, yeah. And I've heard of them before, so that's a place that I was like, okay, I trust what they're going to say about walking, and look at, the references and who somebody actually wrote the article. So that's really good to know that there are other places to go. Let's try another article. This is out of the UK, and that's another thing. Make sure you don't just stick with your one country. Check out what other people are saying other places. And this has also some good articles. I'm going to follow one of these because this is top tips to stay motivated. Hey, that's something you want to do when you're walking for health, is to stay motivated. Now, you may be one of these people who leaves tabs open on your computer. I'm not. But that way, if you do leave tabs open, you can come back to the articles. And here's where you would take some notes and, especially on walking tips and keeping motivated on those kinds of things. Now, we're not going to go to YouTube quite yet, but I just want to kind of show you can sometimes in a Google search find articles on YouTube. And so when I went to this one site, Read Health, didn't know anything about them, seemed to be, repeating a lot of what I've seen other places. So you might want to find out more about the company that's doing, or the place that's blog that's writing the articles, because even though you want to get the information, you also want to be able to trust the source. And they had a little bit on their website about who they were, but it was not enough to really satisfy me, and I felt like they were just repeating other things from other places, and that sometimes does happen. Now, I did that on just regular Google, but now I'm going to Safari. I'm doing a private window. I'm having to type in Walking for Health, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to skip down to the third page, and I'm going to check out to see if there are any additional new articles about walking. Now I'm going over to YouTube. I'm going to type in Walking for Health, because that is what we've been looking at. And that's another thing, is try to stick to the same topic for a while so that you exhaust that particular topic. Also look at how long ago were these YouTube videos made. And when I highlighted the bright side, I find the bright side is one of those YouTube channels that repeats what other people say on YouTube. So I usually I just kind of follow them with a grain of salt. But we want to find somebody who we can trust that they're going to say some things that are helpful. Now, this Mike Cola Fitness, who is Mike Cola? Obviously, he says he works with celebrities, a little bit older. He does have a lot of videos, and that's another thing to look for. Also, you might want to find somebody who's not quite so popular or doesn't seem quite so commercialized, and that's with this Nick Jarowski person that I'm looking at here. Always go to their About page and find out more about the person who's doing the video. Check out some of their videos that they have done, topics that they have done. This person is a doctor, so that seems like that's pretty trustworthy. But, where did they go to school? Or, do you feel like this is a person you can trust, or you think they're just scamming you or trying to get your money? All of those are things that you have to kind of this is a way to avoid overwhelm. Otherwise, if you just accept everything you see or read on the internet, you are going to be overwhelmed. So this is the way I do it when I'm looking up a topic on the internet. So there's some ways that I would do research on this particular topic. And I would probably also make some notes like, the best ways to walk, suggestions, or people to, and a lot of times what I do on YouTube is I'll say watch later. Now, the only problem with when I mark things watch later, when I don't have time to do it now, sometimes I come back and say, oh, I have 30 videos to watch later, and I have to go through and take time to do that. So if you do decide to watch videos later, make sure you schedule a time to do that. It's more effective that way. This is one of the ways that I prevent myself becoming overwhelmed, because it's true, like Susan said, you can look up one thing and then something else. You have to look at the sources. Obviously, she had followed somebody on Instagram for a while, so she trusted them. And then she tried somebody new and they had something else to say. And yes, you can go follow those trails. That is helpful for you. Follow the trails, walking, ha ha. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful in terms of helping you to manage the information that's out there on whatever topic it is that you're reinventing yourself on, in, with. Anyway, however you're reinventing yourself, when you look up the topics on the internet, it can be overwhelming. Hopefully this video series, these 2 videos, has helped you a little bit in trying to manage that overwhelm. But just remember, and I may have said this before in the video, but just remember that your reinventing journey is an ongoing journey. It's a journey. It's not stop and go. You will continue to get new information. You do not have to get it all right now. So allow yourself to take in some of the information and then go with that. For instance, in learning out how to walk, this guy is a doctor. He may he's talking about benefits of fasting. That may be something that you're interested in, or detoxification. I mean, those may be topics that you eventually want to look at. But right now, stick with that one thing about walking. And then, later on, have, to the side, say, check out detoxification. How does my diet affect my overall health? I've said this again and again, in reinventing yourself, you have to start somewhere and then it will progress naturally into other areas. But don't try to do it all. Let me tell you, I'm the worst in trying to do it all. If you like this video, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, do that now. And no matter what, if you would share this video with somebody that you feel is becoming a little bit overwhelmed with all the information out there, whether they're reinventing themselves or not. I'm Amelia. This is Reinventing You. Have a great one.